Everything looked fine. The playroom was clean, bright, finished just 6 months before the baby came home. The wall was painted, the carpet was new. Nothing looked wrong. That was the problem, and the Bernese Mountain Dog was the only one in that house who understood that looking fine and being fine are two different things. Callum Briggs had built the playroom himself. He was a general contractor, and he had done it the way he did everything, carefully, properly, with the particular thoroughness of a professional who cannot turn that part of his brain off even for his own house. New drywall, new insulation, new paint. He was proud of it. It was ready before Iris came home. Iris was 8 months old when it started. Callum's wife, Beatrice, was a high school art teacher, and she had arranged the playroom with the specific attention to color and light that people who think about visual environments bring to every room they inhabit. It was warm and bright and contained everything a baby needed. They started using it when Iris turned 6 months and could sit up with support. Dexter was a 4-year-old Bernese Mountain Dog, 105 pounds, the specific combination of large and gentle that Berners are known for. He had been relaxed with Iris from her first day home, patient with the sounds, the sudden movements, the unpredictability that infants introduce into a household. He followed Beatrice from room to room with an easy loyalty that was the background music of their house. He had never had a problem with the playroom, until the week Iris learned to crawl. The first time Iris crawled toward the back left corner of the playroom, where the baseboard heater sat and the carpet met the wall, Dexter was there before she was. He positioned himself in the space between her and the corner, not aggressively, just solidly. A wall. He sat down and stayed. Beatrice moved him. He went and came back. She moved him again. He came back faster. By the third day of this, Callum stood in the playroom doorway and watched. He wasn't a man given to interpreting animal behavior through an emotional lens. He looked at Dexter in front of that corner and thought, practically, that the baseboard heater might be making a sound he couldn't hear, or that there was something in the carpet near the wall that had caught the dog's interest. He got on his hands and knees and looked at the corner. He saw nothing, but he put his face close to the baseboard and breathed. The smell was faint, almost nothing, stale, slightly damp, the kind of smell that sits at the edge of perception. He straightened up. He looked at Dexter. The dog was watching him with the specific attention of something waiting to see if the human had finally understood. Callum went to get a screwdriver. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. He removed the baseboard panel and found the source of the smell immediately. A slow leak from a pipe fitting in the wall, not a dramatic leak, not enough to show on the surface or cause visible water damage, had been introducing moisture into the wall cavity since some point in the construction process. 6 months of warmth from the baseboard heater had created an environment in the enclosed cavity that a mycologist would describe as near ideal. The mold remediation company that came out 2 days later sent 2 people in N95 masks and a third with a humidity meter. The cavity behind that panel had 3 species of mold, one of which, Stachybotrys chartarum, the species that generates mycotoxins, required full containment protocols for removal. The lead remediation specialist, a woman named Lucia Ferrante with 12 years of residential remediation experience, told Callum in the front yard. If the baby had been crawling in that corner for another 2 or 3 weeks, you would have started seeing respiratory symptoms. Maybe worse. What made you check behind there? Callum pointed at Dexter, who was sitting on the front porch. Lucia Ferrante looked at the dog for a moment. Dogs smell mycotoxins, she said. We've had this happen twice. She paused. A good dog is better than an air quality test. Has your dog ever done something you couldn't explain until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. The wall was opened, remediated, and resealed over 4 days. Iris had been kept out of the playroom for those 4 days and for the week after while the work dried. When Beatrice finally brought her back in and set her on the carpet, Iris crawled immediately toward the back corner. The smell was gone. The mycotoxins were gone. The moisture source had been repaired. Dexter watched from the doorway. He did not come into the room. He looked at the corner. He looked at Iris. He sat down. He didn't block her this time. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Iris crawled to the corner and sat down with her hands on the baseboard. Nothing happened. Dexter, satisfied with whatever calculation he had been running for a week and a half, walked into the room, crossed the carpet, and lay down beside her. The next story is about a husky who started sleeping outside a toddler's door every night, and the medical discovery that came 6 months later. Callum stood in the doorway of the room he had built with his own hands and felt the particular quiet that comes after an emergency you didn't quite know you were in. Dexter put his chin on the carpet and closed his eyes. Iris patted his nose with both palms, the way she did everything, and the room was exactly as warm and bright as it had always been, and safe in a way it hadn't been before.